second thing is, you're wondering, what's this? I shouldn't call it a piece of shit because I looked at all the videos. I looked at Randy Cheap Audio Man's video, Audio Advice's video, and this is actually the older model, so it doesn't have the 3345 RPM. It's got the glass platter, but if you want to change speeds, you gotta, just like my old MoFi deck, which was actually nice because it was outside. You didn't have to lift the platter, but in this case you do. So, oh yeah, this thing actually works again now. So why am I doing all this? So my friend Greg, who, remember a few videos ago I showcased his audio shrine that he's still work in progress. He's part of our Arizona AV Club, and this coming Wednesday we're doing a vinyl versus digital shootout. Now I'm trying to see if I know a couple of the other guys in the club that have a direct stream senior DAC in their possession. I'm going to see if I can kiss their butts nice enough to say, can you guys bring it to the event so I can bring the transport to the event, and that way we can have true SACD layer playback instead of just listening to the CD layer of the SACD, which to me isn't right if you're going to compare it to the vinyl playback. So that's still in the works. But yeah, getting back to the event, so Greg had this T1 laying around, and the reason he doesn't use it anymore is because the power switch is hidden on the side, and it kept pissing him off every time. So this turntable, I think the new ones sell for about $500 because they've got the 3345 switch here, and I think they relocated the power switch here as well. Don't quote me on that. Well, for what, $500 now, and I think this version, when it came out a few years back, was 300 and change, I guess. Well, it's not even made out of MDF, guys. It's made out of chipboard. So it ain't the most densest product on the planet compared to this guy. Anyways, what am I getting at? Lots of ums in the video. Fuck it, I'm not going to delete them. Put up with it. So this comes with a piece of shit Ortofon 5E cartridge, which was like the bottom of the Ortofon line. I'm going back to the mid 1980s. When I had my dual CS 515, it came with an Ortofon OM10 cartridge, which was another elliptical, slightly better than the 5E, but it was always mid-range heavy, had a rolled off top end. Bass was okay, and I'm listening through a piece of shit Pioneer SX3700 receiver. I don't know why people have this fascination with mid-70s receiver. I know it's a fucking rant of mine. I don't get it. But hey, if you want to blow that kind of money on crap equipment like that, be my guest. So Greg lends me the turntable, and I said, I can't fucking put this 5E against even regular digital. No. So my Benz Micro cartridge from the Lin, I put it away in storage, but I think I mentioned to you guys I dunked it in my electrosonic cleaner without dunking the entire cartridge, just the stylus and a little bit of the cantilever, and electrosonically blasted off any crud that was on there. Because unlike Ortofon, who says never put any liquids to the stylus, or don't put it in one of those sticky tacky thingies, the Benz Micro, they don't mention any of that. I don't see anybody saying you can or can't do it, so I figured, what the hell, right? Well, I never played the cartridge ever since I'd cleaned it, because I already had the Quintet Black moving coil cartridge already mounted to the Lin for all my LP rips. So I told Greg what I did, shot the video, a little quick 30-second sound bite. It was Peter Gabriel's Playing with Time. It's an amazing song and great test track, which I've actually played quite a bit at the Florida show. Anyhow, it sounded really good. And the funny thing is, this thing, because it's a bit of a resonance box, if you turn off all the amplification and put your ear to the turntable, you'll actually hear the playback because it's basically resonating through the whole damn table, right? I mean, I had to put a couple of Ernie's Argent Pure cards underneath to kind of level it off because you can't even adjust the feed on this fucking thing. And it came with these ghetto cables that I couldn't stand, and because I got to fish the cables from here into the back of my system, right? It was a pain in the ass, right? So I went underneath, and there's a little cover, and there's a version of this that has like Bluetooth, and I think they've even got a preamp, a cheap little chip-based preamp built in that obviously costs a little more money. So, but this is the base model, so there's no preamp. But what they did was they've got the usual, and I remember this on my dual CS515 and lots of turntables of the 70s and 1980s, where it's a tiny little circuit board that's basically through pads. So basically your tone arm wires come in on one side, and then the RCA wires come on the other side. And because all cartridges are a differential setup, there's a plus and there's a minus. The minuses are technically ground, right? So you connect the hot pins to the hot of the RCA, the negatives to the casing of the RCA. It's not really a true ground. And then you've got the ground cable. That what these guys did was I should have taken some pictures when I was working on it, but at the time I was futzing around doing other crap. I didn't think of it. They've got a cardboard shield with some metal foil on top that they have a solder wire to, and hey, it works. I mean, I'm not going to argue. As cheesy and cheap as it looks, it works. So I ripped out the board. I took the board out very carefully, ripped off the old ghetto cables, and then I soldered two gold-plated RCA jacks that I had laying around. Drilled a couple of holes in that box, did everything, and so now you can put any kind of audiophile or non-audiophile cables. It's just a straight plug-in. The ground cable, it's separate, right? So I leave that permanently attached to the turntable. If I wanted to, I could have put a ground lug in the middle, but more work than it's worth. Anyhow, connected everything back up tonight. The first time, though, when I played this table, I didn't even waste my time with the 5E. I actually listened to it with this, and I'm like, this thing's out of phase. So I checked my connections on the back, did all that good stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? When I popped the cover off to do these mods, that's when I realized the left channel, they'd put the plus on the minus, and it's okay, well, that explains it. So it's a good thing I was intending on ripping all that shit out anyway, so I corrected all that, and now we can hook up whatever cables we want when we do this vinyl versus CD versus SACD or DSD files shootout on Wednesday there. And so another gentleman in the club who's going to be bringing his Stellar Phono Pre, so I don't have to fucking pull it out of all that crap. He's going to bring his Stellar Phono Pre, which is basically the reason why I bought that one. Thanks again, Dave. So basically for the Phono Preamp is going to be the Stellar, this guy. I was blown away how good this sounds. Now, again, me being a turntable guy, not a true turntable guy, for me, and you guys can argue this in the comments, and I really hope you do, because I really want this video to get some views, even though I know I'm rambling on a little longer than normal, but it sounded fucking phenomenal. Like, I could not believe it. And I've always been a proponent of the cartridge is the most important part of the turntable. Second is your Phono Preamp. And to me, the plinth, the tone arm are the third most important. Again, this is me. A lot of guys say you can't have one with the other. You got to have this, you got to have that. Well, fair enough. And like I said, I can actually hear the LP playing without any of the amplification on, very low, you know. And it kind of reminded me of the old BSR turntable I had back in the 70s and early 80s, which had one of those ceramic styluses, right? You remember the little flip needles? One side, you flip it one way, it would play 78 RPM. Flip it the other way, it would play 45 and 33. It kind of reminded me of that because I don't ever recall being able to hear the LP sound, the playback, ever so little on the Lin, right? Or even on my old MoFi deck. So it kind of worried me in the beginning, but then tonight I listened to, again, the Peter Gabriel couple of tracks off of I.O. I listened to Trick of the Tail. I listened to Stone's Sticky Fingers, and I just basically forgot about the turntable, forgot about the cartridge, just enjoyed the music. Phantom Center, Jagger's voice is coming out of the, or appears to come out of the Heresy 4, even though it's not on. Same thing with Phil Collins' vocals on Trick of the Tail. So the turntable is dialed right in. I made sure that there was actually a cartridge alignment tool that came with the project, which kind of fell out of Greg's scary looking cabinet there when we went to go pick this up. And I'm like, oh, what's this? Oh. So it saved me from getting the paper one that I made a while back when I aligned the Quintet Black onto the Lin. First time I did it by eye, I was close, but it was a little bit off, and so I printed it out anyhow. So that's basically the end of the video. I've always wanted to do this. Take a crap turntable, put a 4-figure cartridge on it with a 4-figure phono preamp, and go nuts. Moral of that story is, to all you kids out there, you don't need $5 grand to enjoy vinyl. But save your pennies, get yourself a really good cartridge, budget for around $1,000, and just, I know it sounds like a lot of money, budget yourself for another $1,000 for a phono preamp. Again, you guys know I had the MoFi Studio Phono, which if you can't afford that, that Studio Phono is the next best thing. Or shilling for Black Ice again, there's the Black Ice Phono Preamp. There's 2 of them. The one that's under $1,000 that doesn't have the little tube displayed or the little meters and all that stuff. Anyhow, enough of the shilling. And get yourself a decent phono preamp or a really good cartridge, and that way in the future you can save up for a cooler turntable, you know, that's a lot more dense, a lot more solid, and obviously it looks cooler, is built better. But you don't have to buy a new cartridge for it, you don't have to buy a new preamp for it. That's my philosophy. I proved it with this. A lot of you guys may argue with me on it, but hey, that's what the comment section's for. Thanks again for watching all 15 minutes of this. All the best, guys. Enjoy your week.